time doesn't slow down.
No,
You
not at
know,
all.
I mean, every year just flies by. And if we continue to do stuff the same way, well, we're going to experience the same results. So if we're not getting the results that we want to get, well, we need to make changes. We need to figure out what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. And we need to make some adjustments and do what we can to better ourselves for a better future. Welcome to today's episode of the Insurance, Life, and Everything in Between podcast. My name is Adam Brsan.
And I'm Chris Smith.
If you've yet to do so, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another episode. And if you love this podcast, don't forget to share it with a friend or colleague. We greatly appreciate your help and support.
I saw Adam's topic for today, and I thought to myself, there's 1,000 different things I can talk about when it comes to procrastination. And over the course of that 30 minutes I had to prepare, I wrote down 4 of them. Now, am I going to be able to get through it and share it with you today? Probably not. But I know that, in fact, Adam has a solid presentation prepared on how to avoid procrastination. So we're going to work on a combination of what he has prepared, what I have prepared, and enough that you guys can hear it together today. So Adam, why don't you open up today's conversation with some thoughts on your sales week, things you learned, things that people could follow along with as we get all the settings right for today.
Sounds good. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, looking forward to our topic. We'll get to that in a few minutes, talking about procrastination and the reasons behind why I came up with that idea for a training today. But yeah, before that, I can talk a little bit about my week and how it went. And really with that, I think it's a matter of being important with being persistent with your business. That's something that this week, I feel like there was some business that I wrote that had I not been persistent, I would have never wrote the business. So yeah, this week I was working a lot of leads that were in an area that I hadn't worked in a really long time. It's an area that I really don't prefer. A little bit out of my comfort zone compared to like the other areas where I'm just kind of comfortable and used to working. I had one appointment set in that area on Tuesday. The person wasn't home. It was kind of a waste of time. It took me a little bit out of my way from everything else that I was doing. But I got back to the other area where I had been working leads, and I just put a quick route together. It was like 3:00 in the afternoon, and I mean, I knew I only had maybe another hour and a half of daylight, because it gets dark at 5:00. So I put together as many leads as I could in that area, regardless of how old the lead was. If it was a lead from a week ago or 2 weeks ago or 6 months ago, or maybe even longer than that, it didn't really matter to me. So anyways, yeah, it was just, I had that route put together, and I'd say maybe like the second or third house I door knocked was a lead where I had a note on there that it said Tuesdays are good days to catch this person. I think in the past there was a guy there that I had met up with, knocked on the door. The guy was there, but his significant other wasn't. And she was the one who had filled the card out. So at the time I had asked him, what would be the best time? I always recommend, be sure to ask questions. Like, if the person that you're there to see is not there, but you're talking to somebody, get as much information out of that person as you can. Ask as many questions, like, do they work during the day? What's usually the best time that they're home? Is there usually another car in the driveway if they're here? Those are just all little things that will make your job a lot easier. And so that's what I did. I always have a lot of notes on my leads. And like I said, on that lead, it said Tuesdays is a good day to catch this person all day. Other days throughout the week, they work until 6:00 or something. So anyways, went and knocked on the door. It was probably 4:00 at that point, and the lady happened to be home. And like I said, this was a lead that was probably, I bet it was from like maybe April or May of last year. I mean, it was just one. I just had never been able to catch the person at home. Just bad luck. But like I said, it's just the importance of being persistent, because right there, I got in, I sat down, I not only wrote a piece of business on the person that I was there to see, but also the guy that was there. I don't know if they're involved uh, with one another or not, or if they just live together. We didn't really get into all that, but anyways, yeah, wrote a piece of business on both of them. I think it ended up being about, I don't know, $90 a month total between the two. And that was business. Like I said, had I not been persistent with keeping up with leads and just continuing to work those leads. I think people sometimes maybe give up on their leads a little bit too quickly, where they door knock that lead 2 or 3 times, they can't catch that person, and that lead just goes in the not interested pile. And I don't do that. The only time I put a lead into like a not interested category is uh if they tell me no and they slam the door in my face, and they tell me no on the phone. If they tell me no both those ways, well, then it's a not interested. But I've always said, if they tell me no over the phone, they still got to tell me no to my face too, or vice versa. So, be persistent with your leads, and you'll end up, writing business that maybe you wouldn't had you given up on those leads too soon.
I think when I was brand new, when I was door knocking 5 days a week, before I believed in the power of appointment setting, one of the things that I would do is on the back of the lead, when I used to print them out, is I would write down the day and the time, door knocked, appointment sticker, whatever it was, to document that I was there and when I was there. And I can tell you, in that first 1, 2, 3 years, those critical years of success or failure in the business, the back of those leads looked like a Aramaic scroll. There was so much stuff on that, Adam. 4, 5, 6 times in a single week. Those leads were worked to oblivion. And sometimes when we talk to people and they're like, man, I don't need leads for next week, I still have plenty. You know what that tells me is that they didn't work what they had hard enough to know that they need more leads. Like if I tried to carry back in the beginning those same 20 leads into the next week that had already been beaten into oblivion, it would be ridiculous. But if you're saying to yourself, especially on a Friday when you're preparing for next week, I can still go back and work the leads that I have, that means you didn't work your leads significantly enough with enough time and a full-time effort. So just keep that in mind. Your topic today, go ahead.
But I was going to say, but with that, yeah, I think what happens is we focus on the new leads. We're consistent with working new leads. Sometimes there's leads that just kind of fall through the cracks. There's leads and that's where, like I said, focus on the new stuff. Don't give up on the old stuff. And there's still going to be business there to be able to write.
Yeah. So I got a couple of points I'm going to walk through this morning before we go straight onto social media this morning. Today's topic is procrastination, and I think I have enough voice to get us through the next 10 minutes. So when Adam said this morning that he wanted to talk about procrastination, and in the theme of January being a practical training month, I thought this is going to sound a little bit like a mindset topic, but it really is practical application, not necessarily in the sales cycle, Adam. And I'll get your thoughts on each of these topics as we walk through it this morning. But as much as it isn't how to sell or how to set, how to knock a door or how to write a piece of business, if these issues of procrastination are slowing you down in your production, maybe that's why you're not making enough money. So the first one I thought of this morning when you told me that today's topic was going to be about how to beat procrastination is the power of schedule. Our schedule at our agency and our core agent partners is that at 9 a.m. daily, hell or high water, unless it's like Christmas or something crazy, we're here. We're either on social media or we're on free conference call HD. And now everyone's life is busy. We get it. I have 4 kids. Adam has 4 kids, a parrot, a dog. I think he even has a zebra that he has to take care of. Everybody's busy. We get it. But if you had a $250,000 a year, high-paying C-suite executive job, that wouldn't be an excuse as to why you couldn't be at work. Our day starts at 9 a.m. We can avoid procrastination by showing up every day virtually at 9 a.m. Everyone's life is busy and we get it. But part of the concept of the morning call, Fridays, Mondays, Thursdays, whatever, is it's your clock in moment of the day. If you're in your house and the call has started, you're probably already late to the game. So use that as a benchmark to get that body moving. As Shannon would say, or maybe the laws of science would say, a body at rest stays in rest until it gets moving. So the morning call is designed to tell you mentally, you better be moving. And if you're not already, you're already late. So that's the first point that I'm going to share about how to beat procrastination is have a schedule that is so rock solid, so set in stone that by going against it, you violated some kind of law of science and nature. Number 2, appointments. And Adam, I'm going to get your thoughts on this one because you are a converted appointment believer yourself. You used to door knock. I used to door knock. Neither of us used to believe in appointment setting, but we've adopted that as a standard practice over the course of the last several years. So give me your thoughts on how appointment setting, even if you're setting your own appointments, can help people beat procrastination and improve their overall production.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, it's all about activity, and right there, taking that time to set up the appointments, it's going to get you in front of people a lot quicker. That's the one thing that has really helped me over the last couple years. Is in the past, yeah, all I did was door knock, and I still door knock. Like I mentioned, that those 2 apps I wrote on Tuesday, that was off of a door knock. So it's not like I don't door knock anymore. No, that's part of my business pretty much every day. But the appointments, it's going to get you in front of the people quicker. It's going to give you a little bit more structure to your day, and then fill in the gaps with some door knocking. If you have an appointment at 9 o'clock and not another appointment until 12 o'clock, what are you going to do in the meantime? If your 9 a.m. appointment isn't home and you don't have another appointment until 12 o'clock, what are you going to do in the meantime? Always have the leads ready to go to be able to door knock, but that structure is what gets you out in the field. Like yesterday, the day before, I had a 9 a.m. appointment that was an hour away from home. I mean, I was up and I was out of here early. I think both of them weren't home, but I didn't care because it got me out there. Had I not had those appointments set, there's no way I would have gotten out in that area as early, and I would have been as productive. So,
Exactly.
yeah, you know, the structure of having the appointment set is going to get you in front of people faster, regardless of appointments or not, because you're going to get out in the field faster too.
Yep. So I wrote down here appointments. You got to have a first appointment of the day. You have to have a last appointment of the day, and you have to fill the rest of your schedule inwards from there. During daylight savings, we do it backwards. We set our last appointment first and our first appointment second, and then we fill in the middle. But most human beings, most adults, most Americans need somewhere to be there on time. Most people, and this isn't a bad thing, this is just the reality of it, need somewhere to be there on time. It just can't be this ethereal thing that maybe happens and you might be there and you could and you should and you would. You need a reason to be there to be there. Now, you either choose to outsource your appointment setting to our appointment setting team, or you, the individual producer who chooses not to do so, should set your own appointments. This is not 2016 anymore. We're all 10 years older than we were back then. The business is harder. The business is more expensive. You got to be able to think bigger than we did in the very beginning. Take 90 minutes if you're not using the appointment setting team to set the appointments for yourself. Sunday night, Saturday morning, or at the end of your sales day, assuming you've got business on the books. You should be doing your sales work first. And if you aren't using the appointment team, you are the appointment setter. That means you now have 2 jobs on top of life and adulthood and responsibilities of outside of the business. You now have 2 jobs in your own business. Now, also keep in mind your first appointment of the day could be somebody that already knows who you are. A service visit, a conservation visit, a cross-sale opportunity, a referral. Maybe you get out the door and you get where you're going on time because you have a referral in that area. But one of the best ways you can avoid procrastination this morning is to give yourself a reason to be where you need to be. Be your own appointment setter or hire someone to do it. If you have questions about that, please let us know. There's plenty of scripts and training and people that'll do it for you. Adam, number 3 this morning on how to avoid procrastination is to just jump in. I think so many people, and I could remember back a few months ago, we contracted an agent that came through a recruiting funnel. They were excited. They were motivated. They did their paperwork, but they suffered from the ever popular failure to launch. We even held an entire 1-hour private training for this individual, and I gave her hundreds of thousands of dollars of free knowledge in a 1-hour period. She wanted more information, more training, more books, more content, more conversations. She just was never going to jump in and actually physically go sell final expense insurance. You, as the person watching today, listening in, or watching in the future, whatever it is that you're trying to learn and you're suffering from procrastination because of it, just jump in and freaking do it. Is it starting and selling final expense? Do it. Is it adding Medicare? Do it. Is it buying leads or increasing your lead flow? Do it. Is it setting appointments or hiring the appointment team? Just do it. Is it entering a leadership capacity where you're training, recruiting, and working to build an agency yourself? Just do it. Whatever it is, just jump in and do it. Here's the thing. You're never going to be ready for something you're just learning to do. Sorry, you're never going to feel ready to do something you haven't learned how to do yet or have done a significant amount of time. That's just not how these things work. Your fear of getting started in Medicare, final expense, buying leads, buying more leads, appointments, leadership, or whatever it is, your fear of getting started is what's holding you back from getting started. Like, the irony of that is mind-blowing. Why are we afraid to get started? Fear of failure is what's holding so many people back. We talk about it on a regular basis, but I can remember so many people over the course of my 10 years in this business that had a carrier contract, that had the ability to go out and print money and buy time, but never did it. Here's the thing. Whatever it is you're trying to learn next, just do it. You're going to get better. It's going to take time. You're going to have literally no idea what you're doing for the first 6 months of it, but eventually it'll all click and you can say to yourself, thank God I just did it, because now I can say that I can do it and I am doing it, and I'm not allowing fear or procrastination to hold me back from evolving my business. So Adam, that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts on just jumping in and doing the thing you're trying to add to your business?
Yeah, well, that's like I said, I mean, I just today's topic, what really got me thinking about it was just doing things around the house. I think the other night I was doing the dishes, just it's real easy to just throw everything in the dishwasher, but there's always stuff that's left behind, like pans and pots, stuff like that, that I can't just throw in the dishwasher, that I have to hand wash. And usually what I'll do is I'll take all that stuff and put it to the side because I don't feel like doing it. I put that to the side. I get all the stuff that I got to put in the dishwasher. And then the pots are sitting there. And then, like, that's the last thing that I end up doing. And I just kind of started thinking, like, something just hit me out of nowhere. And I'm just like, why wait? Like why wait? Why, I'm putting off something that I don't want to do because I don't like doing it. And I'm going to have to do it later, but I'm wasting time. So why don't I just do it now and just get it done? So, rather than picking up the pan and setting it to the side to wash later, I'd pick it up, I'd wash it, then then I would dry it and put it away rather than having to do it all later. So I don't know, that's just a small example, but then I walked over to the other side of the house by the garage, and my wife had gone to Costco, and there was a big bag of dog food sitting there. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I need to put the dog food in the dog food holder. And I walked past it, and I'm like, why wait? I just need to do this right now. Why keep walking past this bag of dog food that's just sitting here? Why don't I just do what I know I need to do with it? Otherwise, it's just going to keep sitting there. And I think a lot of these small little things, they start to add up into a whole bunch of tasks that, like I said, they pile up, and then it takes up more time. So when you walk past something, you don't need to do it, just do it. And I think that, and then that got me thinking about business and, like, what have I been doing that's been holding me back, where I'm like, I know I need to be doing this. I know I need to be doing that. Well, just do it. Why keep thinking about the things you need to be doing? You need to just do it.
Exactly. I think that especially for those folks listening in or watching today that opened up their bank account at 6:30 this morning and looked back at it in disgust. They're like, I'm better than that. That's not enough. It's not going to pay the rent come February 1st. This is a problem. Just do it. Just stop procrastinating, set a set of leads and go out there and knock the door. Pick up the phone and dial the leads and go out and work. You're the only person holding yourself back from where you want to be because you're selling a product that everybody needs. You're selling a product that everybody that still owns it when they die is going to use. You own a product that a simplified issue is easy, that a 12-year-old, a 7-year-old could do the application for and could get paid 3 or 4 days later. You're the one holding yourself back from solving the problem that you can see is right in front of you. You don't need more carriers. You don't need more states. You don't need a different comp structure. You don't need a different IMO. You need to, as Adam said, put the dog food in the dog food container and just do it. So I got another one for you. How do you avoid procrastination, especially over the course of the year? Because the year is a very long time, right? It's the third week of the year, well, the third dynamic Friday of the year. There's a long way to go. I'm going to try to keep track of those. We'll probably get to like what, 48, 49, 50 of those. It's pretty
Oh yeah.
cool. You got to set a goal. You got to set a thing, not just a goal, like an actual thing that helps you avoid procrastination throughout the course of the year. I remember in my third or fourth year, my thing became qualifying for a carrier trip. I wanted to qualify for a trip with Transamerica, and I did. And that trip actually was a 1.5 year long qualification period with massive persistency standards, a lot of production. And I was writing a product that was a paper application on a low contract. It wasn't easy, but I qualified. How do you avoid procrastination? Is you set yourself up with something like that to pursue so you can pursue it every single day with that same level of passion. Maybe it's Transamerica's trip. Maybe it's Baltimore Lights. Maybe it's somebody else's. We have a small fraternal, Adam, that will put you on a cruise for $50,000 in production. That's just stupid. Like, that's literally stupid. Who told them that this made sense? We have another carrier, Adam, who will give you a 7-day, 8-night trip to freaking Italy for $50,000 in production. Again, incredibly stupid. That doesn't even make sense. How is that possible? If you need a goal that lasts you the whole year and gives you something to push, look for a trip and a place that you'd like to go and a time that you can go and do it. Maybe it isn't a trip. Maybe you don't like to travel. Maybe you're afraid to leave your home area. Some people are. Maybe you just can't. Maybe you're like me and you say to yourself, why are they having a trip when the kids are in school? I can't do that. Set yourself a different thing that avoids procrastination because you have to achieve it to say that you did it. Maybe it's paying off a credit card. Maybe it's paying off your car. Maybe if you realize that if you paid off your credit card and you paid off your car, you could double your weekly lead investment and triple the amount of money you made just by simply paying off your credit card and paying off your car. Maybe it's saving for a family trip. Ricky last year went to Japan, right? Off of his Medicare money. That's insane. That's crazy talk. Maybe you wanted to do something like that and you can. Maybe you want to buy a house. Maybe you want to be able to build up your emergency fund and then start focusing on your retirement. Whatever it is, set some kind of a standard that you can look to achieve that takes all year to get there so that you can avoid the procrastination that typically takes place at the low periods throughout your days, your weeks, and your months this year. Adam, what do you think? You've qualified for plenty of carrier trips before. What is something that somebody can focus on as a personal producer that can help them avoid the procrastination lows that occasionally hit throughout the course of the year?
Stay focused on the task at hand. Carrier trips, the easiest way to make a carrier trip too is to focus on a primary carrier. I think these days it's much more difficult for agents to make carrier trips because their IMO is telling them, well, you use this carrier for that condition and you use this carrier for that condition. And they're spreading their business over 5, 6, 7, 8 different companies. And I mean, yeah, you could have a really successful year and write a lot of business, but when you're spreading your business out all over the place, it makes it much more difficult to be able to make a carrier convention. This year so far, I mean, I would say probably 80% of my business has been with one carrier, maybe even more than that. It's, I don't know, it comes and goes. It seems like, sometimes the business goes through with the one carrier. Otherwise you have to maybe, move on to using another one. But the easiest way to make a carrier convention is to find that carrier that you enjoy doing business with, a carrier that has all the tools necessary to help you to make your job easier. I think good communication is important with a carriers where when you have something that you have a question about, where you're not put on hold for a half hour trying to get a hold of somebody. Those are just little things. I mean, that's going to take up time in your day. I can't stand when there's a carrier that I have to call and I procrastinate on the task because I know I'm going to be stuck on hold for 45 minutes. I had one, a guy a couple weeks ago called me and he had not received his policy yet with a carrier that I wrote. And I'm like, oh God, that carrier, boy, if I try to call them, I'm going to be on hold all day. And then I think I just forgot about it. And then he called me again. Still haven't got my policy. And it was my fault because I had put off calling the carrier because I just knew it was going to be a headache. And finally, when I was in the car, I had about a good 45 minutes to kill, I think, in between appointments. I called the carrier and finally got it done. But I mean, that's a sort of thing. I would rather deal with a carrier where either they have good communication over the phone, or like, I write a lot with American Amicable. They also have a really good chat feature where I use the chat feature more than getting on the phone and calling them, because I can go right on their chat, and within a minute I'm going to have somebody on there that if I have a question, or that is there to answer my questions and help me move along with my day, so I'm not stuck trying to get something done all day.
See,
So
what you're saying there is that
yeah,
by when you pick your primary carrier and you learn your primary company that you're going to sell, you learn the easiest way to get stuff done.
yeah,
And I would say a great majority of the companies that our agency does business with, we know who to email to be able to fix most problems. We know who to be able to talk to troubleshoot issues. But when you, as a personal producer, if you're watching and you don't even work with us, you should have a primary company so you know that company better than they know themselves. Plain and simple. Last one I have for you, and then we'll turn it over to the presentation today.
yeah.
And we'll switch from free conference call HD to exclusively social media, is how to avoid procrastination is honestly to take what you're doing seriously. That you can't be procrastinating when you come to terms with yourself and you say to yourself, I'm an adult. I'm however many years old. I have bills to pay, people to provide for, even if that person is just yourself. I have an opportunity. I've got the skills and training to be able to make it happen. I have the carriers, the leads, the presentation to give. I have all the necessary job requirements to be successful. I have to take it seriously. I think a lot of people look at this occupation, look at this job, this career, this opportunity, this business, and they just don't take it seriously enough. Well, I made 3,500 last month. I paid the bills. We're getting by. You didn't sign up to get by. You don't have to pay your own taxes and create an S corporation and not have benefits and you didn't do any of this just to get by. You did this because you wanted something bigger for yourself. So avoid procrastination by taking the fact that you're doing this and you're running a business, like Ricky said last week, and he is a business. Take it seriously, because you don't want to be the person on the other side of the fence weeks, months, and years later looking back and saying to themselves, I didn't take that thing seriously when I had the chance to do it. And now I'm working a dead end job with no opportunity because I didn't take that opportunity serious enough.
Yeah. And, one thing, Chris, I was thinking about, how many times do you feel, and this would be a question for everybody out there, really. How many times do you feel like your day just got away from you, where, it's the end of the day and you just don't feel like you accomplished anything? And to me, it's a crappy feeling to have. Like I can't stand when it's the end of the day and I don't feel like I was productive. Yesterday, I mean, I didn't write a piece of business until my last appointment of the day, which was at 7:00 at night. Fortunately, I wrote that piece of business. If I hadn't, I mean, it would have felt like a total failure of my day. But even days that I'm in the office, there's some days where I get a lot accomplished. There's other days where maybe I get distracted by too many other things. And those are the days really where, when I'm only in the office 2 days a week, the rest of the time I'm out in the field, I need to get as much out of that time as I can. Because that's really the days that I'm in the office are the days that are going to really help me with my end goal with building the agency. And with that too, Chris, I mean, time doesn't slow down.
No, not at all.
I mean, every year just flies by. And if we continue to do stuff the same way, well, we're going to experience the same results. So if we're not getting the results that we want to get, well, we need to make changes. We need to figure out what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. And we need to make some adjustments and do what we can to better ourselves for a better future.
I got another one for you. If you guys are watching, then I'm going to give you my next tip. Drop a comment in whatever social media medium you're watching us on. If it's my Facebook page, Adam's, YouTube, LinkedIn, best way for us to be able to share this out to other people. And I know other people watch because other people tell me that they're watching. But if you're watching right now, drop a comment over here. Let us know that you're watching, where you're watching from. What do you like about what we're talking about? What do you want us to talk about? What things do you, here's one. What kind of procrastination do you struggle with and ways that we all could overcome it together? So go ahead and drop a comment when you're watching, if you're now or later, so we can make sure we get that level of engagement on social media. Adam, I think one of the best ways to remain productive is to write it down. If you're in the field, you got to write down your, I don't know where my notes are. It's probably in the car still. My production goal for the day. How do I stay focused on what do I want to achieve? It's right there in the passenger seat next to me. And every time I write an application, I scratch the number off, write down the AP, and get a little bit closer. That's how I remain focused on production. What carriers do I remain focused on? It's written on that same sheet in the middle. What follow-up opportunities, plan B options, service work, conservations, and things do I have to do? It's written right there at the bottom. So I can remain laser focused in the field on the things that I need to do. How do I remain productive at home when I want to be doing office work and agency work and not just the laundry? I have a to-do list on the hour, by the 30-minute mark, whatever it is, of the things that have to be done for me to be here. Otherwise, I've just simply wasted the day. I could have gone out and ran appointments or knocked doors or sold insurance. But if I'm going to choose that today is the day I'm going to focus on agency growth, I got to write down what they are. And then when I do it, scratch it off. So if you feel like the day is getting away from you, I can tell you why it is you have no plan. And that's why nothing happened. Because I've been guilty of it. I had no plan on what I was going to do. And guess what happened? Nothing. So write it down and it'll get done. And if you write it down and it doesn't get done, then you feel even worse about it because you can look at it and say, well, I didn't do any of this. What the heck's wrong with me? Or I got some of it done, then I can do a little bit more of it tomorrow. But it gives you that visual display of what was done and what wasn't versus just a blank sheet of paper where nothing happened that day.
Chris, what did you say? Did you say you have something that you fill out or just you make notes that you keep like in the car with you to kind of keep you on task?
Yeah. So I have a basic legal pad, nothing fancy. I write down my pending business on the front sheets of it. So I know what I need to keep track of to make sure I was paid. And then each day during the week, I have Monday, management office kind of day, what I'm going to get done, 10 o'clock, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then Tuesday is a field day. So I have weekly goal, whatever my weekly goal is, which is always 417 a month and 3, 5, 7 Medicare plans. In the middle of that page, I have what carriers that I'm focusing on to remind me that I'm focusing on those companies. And then on the bottom of the page, plan B and plan C opportunities that if I'm stood up for an appointment or I have nowhere to go or don't know what to do, I just look at it. And all right, number 1, go see this person. Number 2, go see this person. There doesn't have to be any thought involved in the day because the whole day is written out on what you're going to achieve and what you're going to do and what you're going to focus on.
No, I like that. I think maybe we could even create like a document that we could share with agents with that, where then they could take that and they could fill it out, whether that's on their tablet or if they print it out once a week or whatever. But I think that's really good. I like that. I think that could be a useful tool to help people that maybe are not as, as organized with their day.
Absolutely.
So yeah, let's go ahead. I'll throw up our the presentation here. I just put this together this morning when Chris mentioned that he a little bit under the weather. So thought I'd put a little something together. But like I said, my thoughts, I had a lot of notes already. I just needed to compile it into a presentation. So I just titled this "Why Wait? Tips to help you stop procrastinating and get in the game now." We've talked about this too, Chris, with, I know we've done podcasts in the past where we've titled it "Getting Ready to Get Ready," where people are getting into the business. They're anxious, they're excited, but there's just something that's holding them back. And to me, that's, our topic today, procrastinating. Like they're putting off something because there's just something they're just not sure of. And that's, we're going to kind of break this down today, into reasoning behind that, why people procrastinate and ways to kind of overcome those sort of things. So some tips to stop procrastinating and boost your productivity as an insurance agent. That's our topic for today. How can procrastination affect your business? Well, lost time, lost opportunities. You're spending too much time doing other things and not focusing on the task at hand, and that's where you're going to lose out on opportunities. Like I said, the days they get away from us, and there have been days out in the field where I feel like I could have done more. Yeah, I'm pretty nonstop, but even there's still times where I feel like, man, I took a little bit too much time doing this or doing that. Or if I would have just kind of stayed focused on what I was out here doing, maybe I would have knocked a few more doors and gotten a few more houses, rather than, a lot of times I end up in a parking lot talking to agents and stuff. But just little things like that. So yeah, it can cost you sales if you're not productive, if you're procrastinating, if you're wasting time. Client satisfaction. I had a real good example of that earlier, where I had a client that needed me to send him a duplicate policy, and I procrastinated on it because I knew that it was going to be a real pain in the butt calling this carrier, trying to get it done. So, right there, my client was not satisfied with the service because he had paid for a policy. He was expecting a policy. He hadn't received the policy yet. And I put off calling that carrier because I knew it would take a long time to get done and it was going to be a headache. And because of that, fortunately, my client, he kind of looked at the carrier as the issue and not me, and was able to kind of work through that. And he didn't cancel his policy or anything. Stress, it can lead to stress and the feeling of being overwhelmed. Like I said, those little tasks, they build up into big tasks, or maybe not big tasks, but just many more things that you have to worry about doing all at once, gets to the point where you feel totally overwhelmed. You just need to, and again, we'll get into ways to kind of overcome these things throughout.
I would much rather have this sense of accomplishment, even if it's accomplishing small things, than feeling overwhelmed. And Aaron made dropped a comment here that I think is beneficial. Like when you fall behind one day and that rolls into the next day. I get that. And I think one of the best ways agents can overcome that, which leads to procrastination, because then you feel like there's a hill you're never going to get over, is to forget yesterday. Like, it's so easy to let yesterday slow you down. It's over. There's nothing you can do about it. The only thing yesterday can do is hold you back. Even if it was a successful day, that's the worst, honestly. You go out there and you write 6,000 on a Monday, 3,000, 1,500. You actually go out and work on a Monday and write one application, and you allow that success to slow you down. So it's important to remember that whatever happened yesterday, good, bad, or indifferent, it's over. And the only thing it's going to do is slow you down if you choose to let it.
Chris, could you believe I used to get overwhelmed when too many leads would come in?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
I'm like, man, what a horrible problem to have, having all these people that you got to catch up with. But I remember when I was younger in the business, there'd be weeks where there would be an overabundance of leads coming in. Like, all of a sudden, my company, they would send me 40 or 50 leads. I would feel totally overwhelmed, and I wouldn't know who to go see first or second, or I ended up not going to see anybody. So I think that, again, it kind of comes down to kind of breaking down our tasks. And we're going to get into that too. We're going to talk a little bit about that too, how to take a big task and maybe break that down into smaller tasks to prevent that feeling of being overwhelmed. One thing that has helped with having too many leads these days, though, Chris, is by having those appointment setters. That's going to start, because this week I had like 50 leads to work. But the appointment setters, they did their part with structuring my day, with setting up the appointments. Those are the first people I'm going to go see. And then after that, then I can fill in the gaps with the rest of the leads. So again, just kind of restructuring things, simplifying things, make things easier, so you don't have that feeling of being overwhelmed all the time.
Yeah, I think it's a mindset thing. I could imagine people feeling overwhelmed and not wanting to invest in more leads. And when I knew that you're going to be going to an area that you don't have a lot of inventory in. I thought, let's make sure he has more than enough people to see versus less. And the mindset of not feeling overwhelmed, but feeling maybe overwhelmed with the amount of opportunity and less stress because you've got plenty of people to see.
Yeah, most definitely. So let's understand procrastination. Procrastination is the act of delaying or postponing tasks that need to be accomplished, often despite knowing that this delay might lead to negative outcomes or stress, which is really true. Like I said, even just the small things around my house, like putting it off, it leads to more stress because the longer it takes me to do certain things, or even other people in the house, well, heck, the more messy our house gets. And the messier our house gets, the more stressed out I get because I can't stand when I get home and just stuff's all over the place. Like I just worked all day. I'm tired. The last thing I feel like doing is having to pick up after everybody and then do the dishes and all this other stuff. So, maybe sometimes it's a team effort with this, but same thing. I mean, if everybody just kind of stays on point and does their part and doesn't put these sort of things off, um, like I said, why wait? There's something that needs to be done. Just get it done and don't focus on it. Like, and we've been doing really well with that around here lately. Like I walked in last night, boy, in the house. I mean, it looked like, we have the cleaning ladies come every couple of weeks, but I mean, it looked like they were just here. And it's just because we've been better at this as a team, the family team, with kind of keeping up with these tasks.
It's just intentionality, which is a great thing.
Yeah, and then I just, break it down here, voluntarily choosing to do something less urgent or more enjoyable in place of the more important or less appealing task at hand. How many times that, and I used to be guilty of this when I was younger. I would cut off work to do other things because the other things were more enjoyable. But I look back and always think about that now. I had a lot of fun back then, but had I been better with staying on point and focusing on the task at hand, I'd probably be even further ahead today. So, you got to focus on what's most important and what's going to help you to kind of further along with your career. I also put procrastination doesn't mean lazy. Procrastination may just mean you need help with prioritizing your tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, and we'll kind of be breaking this stuff down here today. So we talked a little bit about this earlier, Chris, some common causes for procrastination. And the big one, I think, especially when agents are looking to get started in the business, where they're excited, they see the value in really what could come from the business, but they're afraid. I get it. You really need to get out of your comfort zone. There's stuff that we have to do in our business that aren't comfortable. Going up to some stranger's door, knocking on their door, that's not very comfortable. I've always said maybe it takes a certain type of personality to be successful in this business. But maybe
like you can't all be there. Like there's something wrong with you inherently.
Maybe just a certain type of personality, but you gotta, if you're not good with going up and, maybe you just need to get out of your comfort zone. If you're not good with going up to somebody's door and knocking on it, you got to get out of that comfort zone. That's part of the business. We talk about how you got to do whatever you can to get in front of your leads. And as I mentioned earlier, if they tell me no over the phone, well, they just told me no on the phone. That doesn't mean no. That just means they didn't want to set up the appointment over the phone. So I guess that means I'm just going to have to show up. So, but fear of failure, I think, is really what holds people back with really any business or any sort of things that they know they need to be doing. And as I mentioned, maybe sometimes people get overwhelmed with the large tasks. And that's where I think we need to maybe break down the large tasks into smaller tasks. Even if I have 50 leads to work, well, let's break those leads down into geographic areas. Even if it's all within one zip code, there's still 4 digits after that 5 digit zip code that's going to put me even closer together. So, even like the leads I was working this week, I mean, there were like 50 leads. They weren't all in one zip code. They were in multiple zip codes. So I was able to break that down into smaller areas. Let's focus on this one area first. Then we'll focus on the next area rather than just trying to figure it all out and do it all at once. And like I said, sometimes you can get to the point where you just feel overwhelmed, where you don't even get started. Uh, Poor time management. Uh, Another thing, yeah. And like I said, we're going to kind of talk about this too, as far as ways to get better at managing our time. But I think that's another thing when we don't have, kind of like what Chris talked about, just the things that he does out in the field, like this whole list that he has compiled of things that he knows that he needs to get done, and figuring out ways to get it done, and figuring out ways to work that into your day and your schedule and your hours. So, and perfectionism. And I've said that I feel like that's something that has really held me back a lot over the last few years, is like wanting to wait until I feel like everything is just right. And you can't, because
It's never going to be
nothing's
right
ever,
until you
yeah,
start it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. Nothing's ever just going to be perfect. You just gotta get moving. Like I said, why wait?
yeah. Erin has a good comment. She commented, procrastinating on door knocking will make every excuse not to, not that she doesn't want to, just not good at it. And has never been good at it. Well, the reality is that the only way you ever get good at it is to do it, especially when you don't want to do it. Nobody wants to do it, but first off, if you don't want to do it, you can have the appointment setters like delegate that task out. I don't really door knock much because I only have 2 days to be in the field, and I give the appointment setters an exorbitant amount of leads. So the odds I have to door knock are lower. So you can correct that problem with mass marketing and appointment setting so that you don't have to door knock as often. But when you do need to door knock, you just have to do it knowing you'll get better at it. And then one of the things that I always recommend, and when you do something that you didn't want to do, but you still went out and did it, is reward yourself some way, somehow, in a small way, even if it's just something silly. Give yourself that mental and physical and tangible reward for doing the thing that you didn't want to do, but you did it anyway, and then you'll do it again. So
Door
delegating
knocking is,
out.
I would say, door knocking is an acquired taste, kind of like a fine wine or like IPA, Chris.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
that I remember when I was like 21, 22 years old, like, I don't know, I think I was out at a restaurant on a date or something, and this girl was like, let's order some wine. And I'm like, why would I want to drink that? I don't like wine. And we had it, and it was like, don't really like it. Kind of like IPAs. But it's an acquired taste. And door knocking is kind of the same thing. It's, at first it just might not feel right. But
It's gonna make it
over
feel good.
time, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it.
Any new thing you do is not going to feel right until it's become part of your routine. Like I remember when it was just strictly door knocking leads, not cold door knocking for those listening in from other fields. And you need like an hour, hour and a half to kind of get in the rhythm, get in the car, get out of the car, drive, get in, get out, drive, get in, get out. Then you get into the rhythm of it, and it's just part of what you're doing at that point, and it isn't weird. So whatever the thing is that you don't want to do, but you know you need to do it, you need to find a way to push yourself into that position and reward yourself for the completion of it.
Recognizing procrastination habits. Uh, these are things that hold us back. Really, habits that lead to procrastinating. Frequently checking emails and social media. I think that is a big one. So many times, even like on my office days, it's real easy to get in like stuck in like this email hole where you're all day, you're just going through your emails and following up. And I mean,
Yeah.
social media is a big distraction. TikTok, they might be banning it or something. I don't know if it's going
People be
away for
so much more
good or
productive.
not. Yeah. But I mean, I'm not one that really gets stuck in the whole TikTok loop, but my wife does. And she started doing other things. She started like crocheting and stuff at night to because if she's crocheting, she's using both hands and she's not able to be on her phone, swiping through stuff all the time. So she's, just figured out a way to be more productive, at least doing something rather than just scrolling through TikTok videos all night. But again, these are just sort of things that lead to, preventing us from doing the things that we know that we need to be doing. Constantly reorganizing things instead of completing tasks. I've thought about that too. Even it's so funny. We talk about, like I mentioned, like we have like these cleaning ladies that come every 2 weeks. It's just, it's a lot to keep up with around here with the 4 kids and the 3 dogs and all these other pets and everything else. So, but I remember, I mean, there'd be weeks where, it's like, it's so funny because we have to get ready for the cleaning ladies. We have to clean the house for the cleaning ladies to come. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but the cleaning ladies, they're going to clean the counters. They're going to clean the floors. They're going to vacuum and dust, but they're not going to like put all our crap away. So, but a lot of times what would happen, the Friday night before the cleaning ladies come, rather than focusing on just putting stuff away, we'd be like reorganizing the closet or like stuff that like doesn't need to be done right now, but it's like we're doing that rather than focusing on the stuff that we know needs to get done for tomorrow morning. So, but same, yeah. What's up, Chris?
Here's how I see it, especially in a practical January sense. Your primary responsibility as a personal producer who is solely dependent on your production. There's no override. There's no agency. There's no, like, it's just you. Your primary responsibility is to sell, to hit your goal, to service your book of business, and to make sure that each week you put yourself in a financially stable position. And guess what? If that's how you look at it, like my goal is to write, not my goal, the standard is $417 a month in production, no matter what. And then once that is achieved, you can go and accomplish any of the other things in life that you need to do, and you'll have plenty of time to be able to do it. But if you don't put that level of high priority on your actual job, then all the other stuff isn't going to get done either. So if you want to actually get stuff done, prioritizing what needs to get done and in what order will allow you to be able to do so. Now, I remember planning for like summers. Our summers are crazy between the kids and custody schedules and vacations and business. I felt so much better one summer. We had it almost planned out day by day. We knew what we were doing, where we were going, what was happening. There was structure. We had prioritized time and activities, work and not. When you do it the other way around, nothing happens. So remember the importance of prioritizing tasks, and it makes all the other tasks in life far more easier to accomplish.
Most definitely. And then, yeah, I got to get better at these windows here.
You're small. You're gone. There we are.
Yeah. Back. And again, putting off calls, follow-ups, and anything else you should be doing right now. I mean, just pretty self-explanatory. Like we said, just like what Chris just said, doing the things that we know we need to be doing. Honestly, if we really want to do stuff outside of work, to me, we can almost treat those sort of things as rewards. As long as we get everything done that we know we need to be doing throughout the week, well, then we can do what we want to do on the weekend. We can take the kids to do this or that or whatever else. But if we don't get it done, well, then that might mean we're going to have to spend more time on the weekend to get things done. Even in the past, I've set goals, production goals, where, and I think this is a great goal for even a brand new agent. I don't see any reason why a brand new agent can't write 3,000 in premium a week.
They're just not showing up, Adam. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you break it down,
I'll take it to my grave. At this point, with the amount of training, mindset, motivation, practical skills, on-demand resources like the plug-and-play CRM, which if you can't schedule a time with us, that thing will teach it to you anyway. Like all the things 4 years of archived training calls available. We have all that stuff prepared. Leads from a $275 a week mini campaign to a full-fledged $790 a week direct mail campaign, from free leads to paid leads, from high comp to everything. If at that point you're not putting up 3K a week, that's not us. That means that you, this individual producer, as much as I love you, didn't go out the door, leave your home, and attempt to get into their home 15 times. That's it. This is not a hard thing to do when you got out of your way and went out and did it. Putting off making calls. If you're not using the appointment team, I know I said this in the open, you need to make your own calls this weekend. This isn't the past. This is the present. And if you want to have an effective week and you want to have time off during your week, you got to put in the time to make the phone calls. Dial your leads tomorrow morning or Sunday night. Plain and simple. Set yourself up for a big Monday. And then Monday night, dial from 6 to 7:30 for Tuesday. From Tuesday, from 6 to 7:30 for Wednesday. And by the end of Wednesday, I promise, you're going to have 3,000 in premium and be able to focus on any cleanup work Thursday and whatever you want really on Friday. So recognize that when you don't put these things off, what it actually unlocks the ability for you to do for your business.
And, what I was going to mention, Chris, is sometimes I think 3,000 in premium might sound overwhelming. We talked about that feeling of being overwhelmed and reasons why people procrastinate. Well, you break it down into smaller numbers, figure all $3,000 in premium is $150 a month application Monday through Friday. That's it. $150 a month application Monday through Friday, $550 a month applications. And you know what, Chris? Most premium I write these days is much higher than $50 a month. I mean, most apps, I'd say my average app this year is probably $80 a month, I bet.
Exactly.
So it's even easier to hit. And then if you hit that by Friday, well, then you can reward yourself by taking off on Saturday. But if you didn't hit that goal by Friday, well, then go back out and work on Saturday. So I think that's, ways to, and find something fun to do on the day that you're off, make it a goal to look forward to. And maybe that makes it a little bit where you're going to push a little bit more throughout the week to hit the numbers that you know how to hit, because you're going to see that big shiny ticket on Saturday that you want to, be a part of.
Yeah. 3,000 a week at $72 a month is 3.4 applications. Yeah. So let's just say 3K is 4 applications. If you can't will that into existence over 5 days, then something else is broken. This isn't important enough. You don't need it enough. You don't want it enough. You don't like it enough. You only live one life. Go find something else to do. That's okay. But it's 4 applications a week. And when you are first year commission dependent because you're new to the business, it's urgent and you can do it and you will do it if you show up to do it. What task is most urgent? Writing enough business to put money in your bank account to move the ball from this week to next. You can do it.
Yeah. And, and again, if anything, put together a list of things that you need to get done. And then restructure that, reprioritize that list from most important to least important, or most urgent to least urgent. Get those tasks done first that you need to get done. If they're small little things, just like I said, why wait? Get it done right now so you don't have to worry about doing it later. And if Chris, if you got to take off, fine. Or if you're coming back, that's fine either way. But like I said, prioritize those tasks. What task is most urgent? Let's focus on that first. Get that done. Let's knock that one out, and then we move on to the next. 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. As I mentioned earlier, small tasks pile up and could hold you back from more important things you need to be doing. Get them done right away and get them out of the way. So, that's, again, as I mentioned, just the little things. I'll go up, maybe I was working on something upstairs. I mean, the other day I remember, I left a couple tools laying around. Like, don't keep walking past them, put them away. Like, how long does that take? 30 seconds to take it from my hand, walk down the stairs, go into the garage, and put it back in the toolbox. Like little things like that. Like, don't let these little things pile up into a huge mess. Break tasks down. Large tasks can be daunting. Breaking them down into smaller, manageable tasks can be less intimidating. I want to write 3,000 a premium for the week. Man, that just sounds horrible. I'm not even going to go out today.
I can never do it. I just can't. I've never been able to. I can't do it. Best I can muster is maybe 1,100, 2,000. I just can't though. So
or three $80 a month apps.
Yeah, I can't.
Break it down into the smaller numbers. Like I said, it makes it much more manageable. Real easy. All you got to do is you take 3,000, divide it by 12, and that's how much monthly premium you have to do. That's $250 of monthly premium to hit 3,000 for the week. Very doable. I go out 3 days a week, and I couldn't tell you the last time I didn't write at least 3,000 in premium in those 3 days. So if I can do it in 3 days, I don't see any reason why a brand new agent can't do it in 5 or 6.
And look at it this way. If the number is getting into your head to the point where you can't do it, you have to change it up. It isn't 3,000 anymore. It's the number 4. You have to write 4 applications. That's your number. Screw thinking about it as 3,000 if that's gotten into your head to be something else. Same thing with door knocking. If door knocking has got into your head because it's the word door knocking, call it something else. Call it lead dispositioning. Call it preemptive strike. I don't know. Call it something different if the thing that you called it has gotten in the way of you getting it done. There's plenty of things like that. Maybe you just have to refresh the way you look at it to be able to get it done.
And then leverage technology and tools. There's an app on my phone, an iPhone. I would say probably 90% of people in the world have iPhones. The other 10%, I'm sure that there's other task apps on your phone, but utilize that. I have a task app on my phone, as I mentioned, but I have like different categories. I have different tasks. I have like a family task folder. I have a agency task folder. I have a personal production task folder. And then anything, even if it's like a follow-up, maybe I didn't write a piece of business and I hate follow-ups, but sometimes you get somewhere with them. I'll put those into my follow-ups, into the follow-up folder. What's cool now, Chris, on my iPhone is that if I put a task and I set a time for that task, it not only is on the task app, but it actually shows up right on my calendar. So I don't have to go to the task app. I can see it right there on the calendar. Oh yeah, I had this task for 10 o'clock today. I got to call Shirley Jones to follow up or to add coverage or whatever. The CRM, I know we are in the process. Chris is in the process really of building this, having this CRM built. That's going to help with a lot of client management, lead management, and these are the sort of things that we do need to utilize that make our lives a heck of a lot easier and save us a lot of time and maybe help us to feel less overwhelmed because it's going to help with just organization. And, the CRM, I remember I was at a meeting once and someone was talking about how, back in the day, they would just, anytime they needed to do something, they would just make a note of it. And they just, there were notes spread out all over the place. I think about even like leads where in the past, my leads in my car were printed out and they were spread out all over the place.
Yep.
Now I'm just much more organized. I've talked about how I use Good Notes, you use Notability, but we have our PDF copies of the door knocking leads, the direct mail leads right on there. I can search through them. I can find those areas that I'm in, like the areas I was working this week. Heck, I'd plug in the zip code. There were even leads that I was door knocking that were not even from this week's leads. So again, leverage technology and the tools that we have these days to help make things easier and to help save us time. These are things that I think will help too with feeling less overwhelmed and being able to move forward and get things done a lot faster.
A side note here, if you're having trouble getting started in the business and you're in the following areas, we have so many leads available. Getting you started would take maybe until next Wednesday between contracting, leads, and such. If you're in the Metro Chicago area, Will County, Cook County, in that area, Adam has so many leads and inventory, we can get you started like Wednesday. If you're in the Philadelphia, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware market, we could get you started in days. If you're in New Mexico, there's like 3 people in a coyote that live out there. If you live out there, we have hundreds of leads we can get you started in today. If you are, I mean, it's so many different markets right now. If you're procrastinating because you're afraid to get started, we'll get you started. We can get a Facebook campaign up and running within an hour or two's notice and get people in your inbox today for you to go see today. If you're afraid to get started because you don't know how to get started, we'll get you started. And if you feel like your agency's grown stagnant because you're not receiving that same kind of leadership from above you, come over here, talk with us. We'll get your group back moving, motivated, trained, resources provided. If the procrastination you feel like can be corrected, come have a conversation with us. Somebody asked in the chat, Adam, how do I get contracted with you guys? Jack asked. Send us an email, chris@loyal-insurance.com, info@adambersan.com. Reach out to us on social media. Send us a direct message. Reach out on my on the website, loyal-insurance.com. Any number of those methods is a great way to get a hold of us. If the procrastination is something that we can correct for you, we'll do our 60%. But remember, you still have to do your 40% as well.
And let's see, create deadlines for your tasks. So, if you need to get something done, get it done. And you know that you need to get it done by that certain day. And that's something I'm going to start doing more to utilize, like just the different things I know I need to get done with the agency, just different things when it comes to social media or when it comes to, making sure I have our podcast out on certain times and certain days and different YouTube videos and even just, updating the website, just little things like that, tasks that I know I need to get done. I just need to put a deadline on those tasks and I know I'll be able to get them done a lot quicker. If I got to hold myself to that, well, then, sometimes I think when you're independent and you don't really have a boss, you're your own boss. It's like, that you're not going to get in trouble if you don't get something done, but you are going to get in trouble because you're holding yourself back.
Yeah. I like to put things on my calendar because if they're on my calendar, they have to happen.
Yeah.
I've been doing really quick 10 to 15 minute toolkit live videos on the Toolkit YouTube channel just to promote activity there, get people buying the leads, learning about the product. And I do it for like 10, 15, 18 minutes on a Thursday morning. Do I have to? Do I need to? Probably not. But now that I put it on my calendar, I have to do it. Like, why isn't that happening? I said I was going to do it. It's on my calendar. Why am I not doing this thing? So find something that holds yourself accountable. And if you don't do it, punish yourself, as silly as that might sound. No, I can't do this now because I didn't do that.
And a little side note here too, Chris, I created another Instagram account for us.
I saw that.
Okay. And I wanted to put that up there. Insurance Life Podcast. Let's see. Yeah. If anybody wants to even be on a future podcast episode, Chris and I, we record a lot with people on Mondays. If anybody wants to be on a podcast in the future, Instagram at Insurance Life Podcast. And that would be the best way to get in touch with us. Get on there. It's brand new. So I don't know if we have many followers yet or not on that, but I think that would be the best way moving forward. I'm going to move a lot of my content and videos from my personal Instagram over to the podcast one. So that's where people will be able to go to see like a lot of the different content, the shorts and things like that we do. But yeah, if you want to be on a future episode, reach out to us and at Insurance Life Podcast on Instagram. And I'd love to set up a conversation with you. And then maybe we could have you on a Monday where we can record and have you on for a future podcast.
Yeah, we did an episode on Monday with Johnny Nidafan. Awesome dude. Been following him in the industry for quite a few years. And I got to tell you, if you guys are watching at this point, you're going to want to make sure you watch that. Because again, holds true, Adam. If you put somebody on camera right around minute 21, they get really transparent with you if they're an honest person.
Oh, yeah.
If by minute 21, You can tell if somebody's being transparent or not. And I appreciate that, because the people that did the winter special with us, from John Kite all the way to Eric Hamadi, from Johnny on Monday, you get some really raw, engaging, interesting, and insightful content from somebody who's done it for free. Some of these yahoos out there who actually don't know what to do or how to do it pay or charge for it. They buy subscribers, they pay for likes and followers. This is all completely raw, completely organic. And you want to make sure you're subscribed to the channel on whatever method you're watching us, because that video is going to be worth every minute of it when it comes out.
It was
Adam,
really
I'll see you
cool.
back in a few minutes.
Yeah, it was really cool. I remember, Johnny talking about like he even said like, man, like, your guys' podcast, it's just so real. It's the things you guys talk about are things that like other people they don't want to bring up. They don't want to talk about. Like you guys don't just talk about all the good stuff. Like you talk about all parts of the business and stuff that people are afraid to talk about. But you're right. It was kind of cool to see, like he even kind of opened up a little bit more as our conversation went on. So moving forward here, we talked about this: eliminate distractions, social media, emails, a noisy environment. Noisy environment, that could be even, just the people that are holding you back, people that are wanting you to do more for them to help with moving their business along, rather than you focusing on what you need to do to move your own business along. I remember watching a YouTube video once. John Asseroff, I think is his name. I just remember first time I ever saw the guy was like in the movie The Secret. But anyways, he talks about in this video, you could even find it on YouTube if you just typed in like start with no. And what he basically says in this video is start with no. When people come to you for help, you got to focus on what you need to do first. Not to say just always be, a jerk or whatever and not be willing to help people, but focus on your own tasks at hand first that are going to help you to move forward faster before falling back on the things that you need to get done to move forward with your business to help somebody else to help them further along, if that makes sense to you. But yeah, Google search or YouTube that. It's like maybe a 2-minute video, but I always thought that was pretty good. Start with no. And then from there, not to say that you're not going to help the person, but get done what you need to get done first. Focus on you and then go and help those that need help around you. Some other tips, use website blockers during work hours. There's apps that you can put on your phone that will limit your time on different apps like TikTok. I know my wife downloaded it where she could not access TikTok even within certain times of the day. Or once she was on it, if she was on it for more than 5 or 10 minutes, it would block her. So, use these sort of things if you have to. If, honestly, like these phones are an addiction. Even my kids on their iPads, it's like addictive. They get like the thing in their hand. They're like, look, like watching the video, one video after another, just like adults with the TikTok, just even like these different games. Like my kids, they're all into like the Roblox and stuff. And it's like, we got to limit the time on that stuff. Otherwise it's nonstop all day. You can't get it away from. And to me, that's not productive. So you got to use different sort of blockers. I mean, we have timers on our kids' stuff. Once they've been on Roblox for a certain amount of time, well, then it's blocked. They have to ask for more time. We can do the same thing with tasks that we need to be doing for ourselves. Set specific times to be checking your email where you're not just all day nonstop scrolling through and looking at your emails. Create a quiet, that's supposed to say quiet. I little typo there. Create a quiet, distraction-free workspace. I put in parentheses if possible, because sometimes I know that can be difficult. Sometimes there are a lot of distractions. I try my best to, keep the door closed in my office, but then I have dogs going to the front door, needing to be let out, and just a lot of nonstop stuff. But again, I do my best to try to stay undistracted and do what I can to get as much done throughout my work day in my office. Reward, like I said, reward yourself. The small tasks, get them done and reward yourself. Little coffee break, take a short walk, maybe 5 to 10 minutes to check your social media. I mean, even when you're out in the field, you get enough accomplished from 10 to noon. If you want to stop for a coffee or something, stop for a coffee. If that's what you need to do to stay on point for the rest of your day. So, like I said, you can even make fun of these sort of, make this fun. Like I said, set goals and reward yourself with nice big things at the end of the week, things that you want to do, maybe with your family, events that you want to attend. But first, if I don't get this done, we're not going to be able to go. And you know what? You could even do stuff like that with your family. You tell them, look, if I get everything I need to get done throughout the week, we're going to do this on Saturday. But if I don't, we're not going to be able to go. That might help with your family leaving you alone and letting you do what you need to get done to be able to do what they want to do on the weekend. Reflect and adjust. Regularly review what works and what doesn't, and adjust, modify your approach based on feedback and results. And that's something, like I said, I mean, I'm always evaluating what I'm doing, and that's kind of how I came up with today's topic. Like I said, I was just doing stuff around the house and walking past stuff, and oh yeah, I still need to do that. Oh yeah, I still need to do that. Let's just do it. Why wait? Get it done. So have overcoming procrastination and insurance, just some things that I put together. Chris talked about this a little bit earlier. Have a set schedule. Know what your day and your week is going to look like. This is just kind of a breakdown of my day to day. I'm a little past it now because we went a little bit over, but that's fine. 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Check status on agent contracts. I have agents that are coming on board. I need to follow up and see where they're at with those processes. I need to see which contracts they filled out, which ones they haven't, which carriers they're appointed with, which ones that are still pending. So I'm going to spend the next hour doing that once we're off the call. Then from 10 to 11, I'll check on pending business and follow-ups. So people that I know I need to get in touch with, business that maybe there's things that need to be fixed, or maybe like I know I have a client that called me yesterday that she needs to move her pay date to the 3rd. It was set for the 1st. Little things like that I need to get done. 11 to 1, I'm going to call recruits. I'm going to call people I know that are in the business. I'm going to spend time doing what I can to bring on as many more people as I can into our organization that I know that we can help and that I know we can help get better. Then from 1 to 3, I'll work on those emails. So the goal is to not even look at my emails all day until 1 o'clock. At that point, then I can go through my emails and kind of see what other things I need to get done within those next 2 hours. From 3 to 5 today, I'm going to work on the website, the podcast, the YouTube, social media, etc. And at 5 o'clock, I'm going to order a pizza and I'm going to crack open a beer. So, simple. That's my reward, I guess, for getting everything else done throughout the day. Well, then at the end of the day, heck, I'm going to kick back and, looks like our house is in pretty good shape. Spend some time with the family, relax a little bit. You can do the same thing out in the field, though. You can break your schedule down into, I set up, I want to have appointments set on the hour. Sometimes that doesn't happen. I have it set on my calendar. Where I want my appointment setters. I have it set. It just says right on my calendar, on my Google Calendar that I share with them, block for appointment. And it's from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I have every single hour on the hour. There's a little spot on the calendar that says block for appointment. So my appointment setters, they know those are all the time slots where I want appointments set. So usually by the night prior to the day that I'm going to go out in the field, I can look on the calendar. I can see where I have those appointments set and what times. And then And then from there, it's my job to fill in the gaps. So what am I going to do with the rest of my day? I have an appointment at 9. Yesterday, for example, I had an appointment at 9 a.m. I had an appointment at 10 a.m. And then my next appointment was at 11, or I'm sorry, at 1 o'clock. So right there, I mean, there's a good 3 hours, 2 hours that I need to find other things that I need to do. What am I doing? The night before, I'm going to go through and I'm going to figure out the leads that I'm going to door knock within that 2 hour time frame, so I can do what I can to get in front of somebody within that time. I could also take those leads if I have enough of them, and I can get on the phone while I'm on my way to my first appointment. I can get on the phone and I can start calling those leads and trying to fill in appointments for the rest of my day. Don't get a hold of people, well, then I can work on the door knocks. I did the same thing later on in the day. My 1 o'clock appointment wasn't there. And then I had a 7 o'clock appointment. I had a good 6 hours then to just strictly focus on door knocking. So same thing. I'm gathering up those leads. The night before, I kind of saw on the calendar, 1 o'clock appointment, 7 o'clock appointment. All right, I'm going to have 6 hours there. Let's look at the area where those leads are. Let's put together a route. And, it's good to have that structure. And again,
there's no structure, nothing happens. Like, just plain and simple. If there's no structure to the day, realistically, little to nothing is going to happen. And you deserve those unstructured days if you do the other stuff correctly. And one of the most unsafe things I've ever done is dial leads while driving home on I-95 to set appointments for the next day. I don't do that as much anymore. You should probably do that from a stationary position. But there is no reason. I don't care if you're the worst appointment setter. If you have enough leads and you call through them, you'll get better at it. You'll have people to see next morning. You'll be on time. You won't procrastinate. Just freaking do it. You won't die from it.
Sometimes, Chris, even when I'm out in the field and I'm door knocking leads, I make it a competition, like with myself. I'm going to see how many leads I can door knock in an hour. So, let's say like yesterday, let's say from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, I have this whole route put together. How many leads am I going to be able to door knock within that time frame? And the reason I do that, it keeps me from getting distracted, from doing other things, from getting on my phone and looking at emails and looking at social media, things like that. If I set a goal, like I want to door knock 10 leads in this 1 hour, or 20 leads, depending on how far apart they are from one another, it's going to push me to do that if I set that goal. So again, breaking down the big task of, I know I got a lot of people I got to see, let's set a goal and see how many people we can hit within that hour. And it'll, like I said, for me, it helps me to be less distracted when I do those sort of things as well.
Order a crack of beer. I love it. Just so simple.
Like I said, reward myself at the end of the day for getting the rest of the tasks done, right?
But what if you didn't? Do you still get to have beer?
Probably.
No, you don't. You don't get to have beer. If you didn't do all of the other things, then you don't get to have the reward.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll hold myself to that today. Focus on being consistent with all parts of your business. We talk about, today, having the set schedule and also ordering new leads, always having the new leads to see. And again, it's so funny talking about procrastination and the fear of failure, and it all comes back around. People don't order leads consistently. Same thing. They're afraid of failing. And then they're procrastinating on ordering more leads. So those are two big things, having that set schedule, breaking the schedule down hour by hour, whether you're out in the field or you're at home, figuring out ways to get it done. And then, and again, our podcast now, we are on many platforms: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, lots of good content. Feel free to check it out. Chris mentioned,
check it out, comment on it. Don't just check it out.
Yeah,
like it,
comment,
dislike
subscribe,
it. That's okay
follow.
too. Say this is the worst stuff you've ever heard. We'd appreciate. Sure. Don't just like it, follow, like do all of the things that need to be done, because this is the kind of stuff more people need to see, and they won't see it if you don't do the things that are all over the videos. And
You can go to my website too, unitylifegroup.com/careers, and reach out if you would be interested in joining the team. I know we mentioned, you can even send us an email. Either way, we'll figure out a way to get in touch with one another. But, the agency itself, we got in-home sales, telesales platforms available, lead programs. Chris has really spent a lot of time with the CRM and developing ways for agents to get in front of more people with a minimum investment of, what did we say, $275 a week?
Yeah, let's call it
leads.
275 to be safe.
Yeah, $275 a week for leads is going to get you in front of at least 10 qualified people, minimum.
We have our own commercials now. We have our own YouTube ad commercials.
Like YouTube leads.
All the things.
Very high quality content. And what's great is that these are leads that agents are getting at cost. They are, they're investing their money into it. And, I kind of look at it this way, Chris. I was thinking about this last night. With direct mail leads, we have pay per lead, where you're going to pay a set price per lead. You're going to pay $38 a lead or $40 a lead, and you know what you're going to get. Or you could do 1,000-piece mailer, where you're the one taking the gamble. You're gonna figure $550 at least for a 1,000-piece mailer. You're the one rolling the dice. I kind of look at the Facebook leads and the YouTube leads and everything that we're doing is almost kind of like the 1,000-piece mailer. You're the one rolling the dice. You're going to spend a minimum of $275 for the week, and then you're the one rolling the dice. You might get leads back at $13 a lead. You might get leads back at $20 a lead. I do know, though, that you're going to get them back for a lot cheaper than if you were going to a vendor and they were doing all this work for you, and you'd be spending minimum $35 to $40 for the leads. And we're talking about good quality leads. We're talking about leads like Chris mentioned, commercial running. People aren't surprised when you mention that you're calling or you're door knocking them about the insurance that they inquired about. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be like, "What are you talking about? I just thought this was a free government program." No, they're going to know it's about life insurance. So, great program, a lot of good leads. And like I said, you're rolling the dice, but I feel like you're going to come out ahead. You're not going to be spending $50 a lead. You're going to be rolling the dice and be getting the leads even cheaper than if you were paying through a vendor. Because we're just providing the service at cost to agents. What you're putting into it is going right into the ad spend on the campaigns that we're running, and you're getting back what's coming back. We're not profiting off of that. The way we profit is by agents going out and writing business.
Yeah, my last story I'll leave you with is we were setting up the campaign for John Washoe, who wrote, I believe, 3 applications off of his mini Facebook campaign, and leads are coming in every single day. Like, how more fresh do you want than a lead that literally just came in overnight? Go see him, write the business. He wrote 3 of them. I set up his campaign. I did the math on it. I'm like, oops, I'm actually losing money on the way I structured his campaign. Oops. But you know what? I'll make it back, because I'm going to make it back by the fact that he went out and he's seeing people, he's writing business, he's motivated, and he's an awesome member of our community. So there's absolutely no profit being made off of that individual campaign. I'm actually losing money in the process of setting up a resource that's helping him make money.
And who can't handle $275, Chris? I mean, to get started, to get you in front of at least 10 qualified people. Like John said, they're good leads. He's worked tons of leads. Oh, yeah. And, he even said, yeah, they're good leads. Yeah, we're talking about, these are high intent leads. Like I said, people aren't surprised that you're door knocking, mentioning the life insurance that they had inquired about. Yeah. And what's going to happen is you're going to end up investing more and more every week. You might start with 275 and you're going to see how good the leads are and how much business you're writing. You're going to say, well, heck, I want more than just a minimum of 10 leads. I want I want 20 leads or 30 leads. You're going to be willing to invest more because you're going to be writing that much more business.
Yep. We believe in you. You believe in you, and meet in the middle. Otherwise, if you don't, there's plenty of other opportunities in life. Don't waste the opportunities that you have on this earth.
Yeah. So like I said, reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to fill you in a little bit more on the lead program and the Facebook and YouTube social media campaigns that we have running. And then, we are in the process, like I mentioned, Chris has spent a lot of time with putting together a CRM that isn't ready yet, but it will be soon. And what's nice about that is that it's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. There's a lot of automation involved. When those Facebook leads come in, then not only are you going to receive that lead, but it's going to do a lot behind the scenes with even trying to set up appointments for you. And just reaching out to the people right away. They say, especially with these Facebook leads, the faster you get in contact with that lead, the better chances of a good result. So the longer that lead sits, well, what do you think's happening? More ads are popping up, and they're inquiring with other people, and there's competition there. So you want to get on them right away.
Well said. Well said.
So I think that's about all we have for today. I hope y'all learned a little bit something. Like I said, why wait? It's time to get started. Any little task at hand, think about this throughout your day today. We're all, like I say, we talk to ourselves more than anybody. We're always thinking. And whenever those thoughts come into your mind of, oh, I need to be doing this. Oh, I need to be doing that. I know it's going to happen today. I know that there's something that's going to come in, just be ready. And when those thoughts come into your mind, say, I just need to do it. Why wait? Let's just do it now. And you'll be much more productive. You'll get much more done throughout your day. And you're going to find a lot more time to be doing stuff that maybe would even be a little bit more enjoyable than the stuff that you don't want to be doing. So thanks again. I hope y'all have a great weekend and look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks again.
Take care.
And this concludes another episode of the Insurance, Life, and Everything in Between podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, share with a friend or colleague. And if you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, please leave those too. Any input is greatly appreciated. Thank you.